morning, everyone. I am super excited for this video, mostly because as I was diving into the research about everything that I'm about to talk about, my views on nutrition actually started to shift. I've talked a lot in my videos about the perfect diet and how the perfect diet for you is bio-individual and you should try stuff, test stuff out, figure out what your body responds best to and kind of go from there. And I don't want to say I was wrong about that, but I just have more information and more perspective on that now. So I'm going to share that with you guys in a bit. But the overarching thing that I wanted to talk about today is seasonal dieting. This has been something that I've been wanting to get into for years, but I just had other goals that made my nutrition need to be a little bit more specific and precise. But I'm now at the point where I'm kind of diving back into like playing around with nutrition and experimenting and having fun with that kind of stuff. And so I decided it was finally time to like actually do the actual research on seasonal dieting and see how I can apply it to my life. So basically today, I'm gonna walk you through a day of seasonal dieting in winter and also just break down what seasonal dieting means, the research that I found on it, the different mechanisms that come into play when you are shifting your diet seasonally and all of that good stuff. If you're excited about this, I'm super excited about this. Give the video a thumbs up and let's get started. I spy a Cleo. Hi! But first, I'm gonna start my day with a kombucha. So not only am I starting my day with a kombucha, which I don't know why a kombucha first thing in the morning is just so refreshing. I love it. But anywho, I am also starting off my day with some supplements. I do have more research that I need to do on seasonal supplementation because I think that kind of goes hand in hand with seasonal dieting. I think these 3 supplements that I've picked, which are vitamin D and omega supplements, so EPA and DHA, and a vitamin C, I think those are probably gonna be like what I settle into for my like winter supplements and things that I just actively try to incorporate more of. I probably won't take them every day because, as I've told you guys, there's no supplements that I really take every day other than like a probiotic. But I think I'm going to just add them into my supplement routine a little bit more heavily. So I'm pretty set on these for winter. I just don't know what my other season supplements are gonna be. But that's okay, I have time. Still got another like month and a half of winter. But when it comes to vitamin D, I feel like this one's pretty obvious as to why you would supplement with it in winter. When the days are shorter, you're getting less sunlight. The UV light is actually less strong, so you're not gonna be getting nearly as much vitamin D naturally from the sun. That's where a supplement comes in. Most people, at least in the US, are deficient in vitamin D because we just don't get outside. And in the summer, you guys know me, I love to just get outside for like 20-30 minutes and just kind of like bask in the sunlight, and that usually does the trick for getting adequate vitamin D levels. But usually the UVA strength during the summer is anywhere from like 8 to 11. It's on a scale of 12. But during the winter, I think I checked like yesterday what the UV was just to be sure I would actually need to supplement, and it was at like 4, which like you would have to be outside most of the day to get an appreciable or adequate amount of vitamin D from that. And like, I'm not about to just lay outside all day. Also, it's cold, so I'm not gonna do that. So supplementation it is. My go-to vitamin D supplement is from Symbiotica, and I love this one for a number of reasons. The first one is it not only includes vitamin D, but also includes vitamin K2 and CoQ10. And K2 works synergistically with D3, so when you take them together, you actually get much better absorption of the vitamin D. And then also use liposomal delivery for this. Symbiotica is just, it's top-notch when it comes to making sure you can absorb as much of the actual supplement as possible when you're taking it, which is why it's absolutely worth the price, because you actually absorb what you're taking, as opposed to cheaper quality products where like you probably not gonna absorb nearly as much. So liposomal technology when it comes to supplements is actually really interesting. What they do is liposomes are kind of like bubbles that surround the nutrients. It's a phospholipid bilayer. Did anyone else's like AP bio teacher do this, to do phospholipid bilayer? And so this liposome surrounds the nutrient and it basically helps the nutrient pass through the GI tract more effectively and get absorbed a lot better. And it also protects it against the very acidic environment of the GI tract so that as it is absorbed, you are getting more of it and less of it gets broken down by the acidic environment. So certain vitamins and supplements greatly benefit from being delivered liposomally. Others, it's not necessary, but vitamin D is one of the ones that you want to be liposomal in order to maximize delivery. So if you've been looking for a good quality vitamin D supplement, especially if this winter you have been feeling the SAD, the seasonal affective disorder, because of the lack of sunlight, vitamin D can really help with that. I highly recommend the one from Symbiotica. I'll leave a link down in the description box below, and if you use my code FIT15, you'll get yourself 15% off of anything on their website, but including their vitamin D. The other two supplements I'm taking are also Symbiotica. This is a mere coincidence. Yes, this video is sponsored. I'm not trying to hit you over the head with Symbiotica products, but it just so happens that the supplements that I researched where it was like, in winter you should take these. My go-to ones of that are Symbiotica too. So I'm still gonna tell you about them. Not trying to turn this video into one long ad. They just genuinely have the best quality of these supplements, and so this is what I'm taking. So the next one that I'm supplementing with is an omega-3 supplement. So this has EPA, DHA. This one also has a couple other nifty ingredients in it, but it's basically an omega-3 supplement. And one of the main reasons that you might want to consider taking an omega supplement in winter is mostly to fight the SAD. There's a lot of benefits to taking an omega supplement year round, particularly in winter. It's really good at kind of boosting brain health, boosting mental health, and keeping away any of the like depression and anxiety that you might get from the days being shorter and from not being outside as much. And then the last supplement is vitamin C, and this, I feel like most people know, you know, take vitamin C in winter because you can get sick, and vitamin C boosts immune system. That is the rationale for taking vitamin C in winter. But the interesting fun fact that I learned while researching seasonal eating is, maybe other people know this, but I live in Southern California where like pretty much everything is in season year round. But for the most part, citrus fruits are in season during winter. And so naturally, in our hunter-gatherer state, we would have been eating more citrus fruits and thus more vitamin C during the winter. So when it comes to vitamin C as a supplement for me personally, I'm probably just gonna try to eat more citrus fruits in the winter. But if I find where I've gone like a couple days where I haven't had any citrus or anything with vitamin C, then I will probably throw in the supplement. So I'm gonna use this a little bit more supplementarily rather than as a staple, whereas like vitamin D, I'm gonna take a lot more consistently. This will be a little bit more intermittent on an as needed basis. This tastes so good. It's like a citrus vanilla flavor. It's like a creamsicle. Orange creamsicle. Yum. I'm gonna make breakfast, but again, if you do want to check out any other stuff, you can use the code FIT15 to save yourself 15% off of anything on their website. I'll leave a link down in the description box below. Check it out. Cannot recommend them enough. Genuinely just absolutely obsessed. And we have breakfast. I have been having some variation of this every day for the last like 4 or 5 days, and I am obsessed. In my head, I call it my breakfast egg salad. It is clearly not an egg salad. It is an egg with salad, 3 eggs with salad, and it is so good. Okie dokie, now that I am properly fed, supplemented, kombucha'd, let's talk about seasonal dieting and what it is and what the theories are and why I want to attempt to live my life this way. This is the main principle that has me reevaluating my views on nutrition, and that is that pretty much no ancient cultures ate exactly the same way every single day throughout the entire year. One good example of this that we can see today is the Hadza people of Tanzania. They are a hunter-gatherer people. In the summer, they eat a more vegetarian-based diet. In the winter, they end up in ketosis because they're eating a lot more meat and higher fat. In the spring, they do a lot more fasting because they're in between food supplies. So one of the big principles behind aiming to eat seasonally is diet variation. Simply the act of changing up the structure of your diet. Because here's the thing, adaptation is what causes change and what causes growth and what causes like an increase in strength and resiliency. And you have to change things in order to force your body to adapt. And every time you change diets, you are forcing your body to adapt to a new diet. One of the biggest ways that your body has to adapt to a change in eating style is hormonally. Simply switching your diet, it doesn't matter what you're switching it to, just the switch itself causes a rise in growth hormone, which can be anti-inflammatory. It also causes a rise in norepinephrine, which can also be anti-inflammatory and drives a lot of other hormonal changes that are beneficial to our bodies, our cells, our brains, etc. So in this way, changing your diet is acting kind of as a hormetic stressor, which is a small positive stressor on the body that forces your body to adapt in a big way that is beneficial for you. Some other examples of hormetic stressors are sauna, which is heat stress. Cold plunge is cold stress exercise. Also fasting can be a hormetic stress. So changing your diet is just something else that falls into this category. So in this sense, it's not about finding one best diet. The magic is in switching your diet and not staying in any one diet modality for too long. And this is where I've seen the biggest shift in my own personal lens of viewing nutrition, because like I've said, I've talked to you guys about finding the best diet for you and not fitting yourself into one diet box and following diet dogma, but trying things out, seeing what works best for your body and makes you feel the best. And I still strongly stand behind that, and you can still definitely apply that to seasonal dieting or just diet variation as a whole. But now with the research that I did for this video, and just because I was excited about it, I think within finding your optimal diet, it is advantageous to change things up regularly. Not like all the time, but like regularly, like seasonally. So I want to talk about some of the mechanisms that come into play with seasonal dieting and like how the seasons affect your body to suggest that maybe we should be switching up our diets seasonally. The first thing is that during summer, your vitamin D levels naturally rise because there's more sun. You're probably out in the sun a lot more, and higher vitamin D levels make you more insulin sensitive. And this means that your body's going to much better tolerate an increase in carbohydrate and fructose-rich foods that we would often find to be naturally more plentiful during the summer. Also, research has demonstrated that our microbiomes can shift seasonally, and this was shown in the Hadza people, but you might think, well, obviously, if their diets are shifting seasonally, it's going to shift their microbiome seasonally. But there was research done in the Hutterite community where their diet is relatively stable, consistent throughout the year. Like they eat basically the same thing, winter, summer, fall, spring. But their microbiomes still shifted throughout the year. And some studies have shown that even the position of the sun and the length of the day can affect your microbiome. And this creates changes that adapt our body seasonally. So like in the fall, we have a higher number of enzymes that help break down hardier grains and foods that we would naturally be eating in the fall. And then I think one of the biggest arguments, or at least one of my favorite arguments for why you should eat seasonally, is the balancing of different pathways in the body. So within the various dieting communities, there is a lot of fighting about different pathways, like the mTOR pathway and autophagy. People in the vegetarian vegan side of things tend to argue that mTOR is a horrible pathway. It just leads to aging. Like you want to avoid it at all costs. And then there's people on the other side of things who think that mTOR is the greatest thing ever and you should avoid autophagy at all costs because it has some negative side effects. Well, the reality that our body has both pathways for a reason. And if your body spends too much time in either pathway, then yeah, it's not going to be good. So you want to find a balance between these pathways. So the mTOR pathway is going to be activated by eating more protein, eating in a calorie surplus, things that you need to do to build muscle tissue. And this pathway is a growth pathway. So it's the pathway that creates new muscle as well as other tissues. It increases ATP production and helps produce new mitochondria. And it's also involved in synaptic plasticity and memory consolidation. So it's important for brain function as well. But too much of it is not a good thing. Overactivation of mTOR ages you prematurely. One of its biggest downfalls is that it's really not good for cancer because it is the growth pathway. So if you have cancerous cells in your body, you don't really want to be activating that pathway too much because it's just going to help them proliferate. Overactivation of the pathway is associated with depression, neurodegeneration, obesity, type 2 diabetes, acne, like a whole host of not so good things. But on the other hand, we have autophagy, which is activated through fasting states, and there's a lot of other things that can like activate autophagy minorly, but in general, it's like fasting, lower protein. The positives of this I just talked extensively about in my 3-day water fast video, but fasting essentially eats up your old damaged cells and allows your body to regenerate and replace them with new cells. So you're just clearing out and recycling a lot of waste and damage in your body, which is like an amazing, miraculous process that the body can do. But spending too much time in autophagy can actually be catabolic. It can start breaking down tissues in your body. It can suppress the immune system. It starts killing cells in your heart. And autophagy also might actually be bad for certain cancers. Like there's certain cancers that thrive in a state of autophagy. So when you eat seasonally, or at least when you vary your diet, you can spend a good amount of time in both of these pathways, but then also get out of both of these pathways and get the benefits of both of them without risking being in either one too long and getting the negative side effects from that. And I think this is where I've really shifted my perspective on nutrition, because before I would have said, you know, if you've tried a bunch of diets and you've tried high carb, you've tried low carb, you've tried whatever, and you've figured out that like you feel best and function best on a low carbohydrate diet, then like go for it, stick to that. My new perspective is go for it, stick to that for a while, but then maybe switch things up every now and again. And I think it's especially worth noting the fact that we do get so much benefit from these switch in diets, that if you were originally eating a high carb diet for like years and then you go low carb and go, wow, I feel so much better, this is amazing. Part of that may be due to the hormonal adaptations that you are forcing by switching your diet. And so it's not necessarily that low carb itself is making you feel a lot better. It's the fact that you switched and you caused your body to increase growth hormone, you caused your body to increase norepinephrine, and now you're like, wow, this is it, this is the miracle. But if you settle into that one diet for too long, you're not gonna get the the same amount of benefit in perpetuity. So that is my pitch for seasonal dieting, or at least diet variation. You can obviously apply these things and not have it be super in sync with the seasons, but I do think there is a good amount of research suggesting that like we are naturally designed to eat seasonally because of the microbiome shifts, because of the vitamin D exposure, etc. Like it kind of makes sense to sync things seasonally, but you can still get a lot of the benefits of diet variation by just varying your diet not in sync with the season. But personally, I am embarking on a journey to start eating seasonally, so I will quickly walk you through how I plan on doing that. First things first is just to figure out what is in season in your area. Like I said, I live in Southern California, so we have access to like most fruits and vegetables year round, and I feel infinitely grateful for that. But as far as like eating style or diet goes, during the winter we would naturally be a lot more high fat, maybe even ketogenic. Personally, I don't plan on going keto for all of winter. I do think, you know, we're getting close to being out of winter now. I don't really plan on doing keto this year, but maybe next year I will do like a short span of being in keto, like maybe 4 to 6 weeks, like nothing crazy. We'll see how I feel, we'll see how my hormones are doing, we'll see how my body's doing. I don't know, that's like a year from now. But I don't think you necessarily need to be like hardcore keto in the winter. You can if you want. If keto is something that you want to make part of your lifestyle, winter is the time to do it. And then if you want to consider the Ayurvedic principles in your nutrition, generally it's recommended that you would have like hotter, spicier, more warming like soups and stews. Just foods that are essentially going to warm you up from the inside because it's cold outside. And then in the spring, the focus would be on fat and fiber and also fasting. So I guess the 3 F's of spring. fat fiber fasting. Fasting simply because naturally as hunter-gatherers, we'd kind of be in between food supplies and there just wouldn't be as much of an abundance of food, so we would just be eating less. There's not like a specific fasting protocol like, in the spring you fast 24 hours once a week. It's more just like putting more space in your food. This would be a good time, in theory, to be in a fat loss phase because calorie restriction can actually be a hormetic stressor when used appropriately. I'm not saying starve yourself because that's good for you. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying though is that studies do show that dietary restriction without malnutrition delays most age-related physiological changes and extends maximum and average lifespan. So going through periods of some amount of restriction, of some amount of fasting, can actually be a hormetic stressor on the body and have a very positive effect.
For anyone that doesn't have a great relationship with food or has a disordered relationship with their food or their body and just heard me essentially give you permission to continue extreme restriction to the point where it's unhealthy,
erase what I just said from your memory. That is not healthy. That is not at all what I am saying. If you're coming from a history of restriction, you're gonna do a lot better by adding more food into your diet, not continuing to restrict, okay? Okay, and then moving into summer, our diets would naturally become higher carb, more fruits, more starchy, higher carb vegetables, and this is for multiple reasons. One, these foods tend to be more plentiful in the summer. But two, we're more active and it's hotter in the summer. This means that with more activity, we can actually utilize the glucose that we're getting from the higher carb foods a lot more efficiently. So it'll give us the energy that we need. Also, fruits tend to be a lot more hydrating. They have a lot more water, and since it's hotter, we need more hydration. And according to Ayurveda, you want to consume more cooling foods in the summer. So things like fresh smoothies, fresh fruit, things that you would naturally crave when it's hot outside. Then in the fall, this is when we would have harvested our grains. So this is a great time to add more grains into your diet. And then we also would have been eating heartier foods like nuts and seeds and meats and root vegetables and stuff like that. So in general, my plan for the fall is to follow kind of a like paleo-based diet plus grains. So basically just a whole food based diet, including like all of the foods. Interestingly, in the fall, apples are also in season, and apples are high in pectin, which actually helps our bodies to digest those heartier foods. So you'll find that if you follow this template, you're kind of naturally cycling through the year through higher carb diet in the summer and then tapering off your carbs in the fall to a lower carb diet in the winter and then back up to a higher carb, etc., etc. So you're getting a lot of those different kinds of diets throughout the year just by naturally following the seasons. Okay, I'm about to attempt a super duper quick full body like functional workout. By functional, I just mean it's more like rotational. You'll see what I mean when I do it. The only reason it's gonna be super quick is because the sun sets in like 15 minutes and I'm doing it outside in my backyard. So I have maybe like 30 minutes of light right now. Okay, I lied. I just checked and I have 10 minutes until the sun sets. So it's gonna have to be a really efficient workout. We'll see what I can do. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do like one exercise. Something's better than nothing.
I've been walking through the rain, don't know where I'm going. My head's leading me astray, yeah, you follow knowing. Getting deeper in the frame, I see your face, I feel the pain, but you chose the path I follow. I'm in love with the way that you hold me when I fall back down. And I'm in love with the words from your voice that put me off the ground now. This love's been a long time coming. My breath slows but my heart keeps running. I'm so fed up of the lies that my heart believed in, but staring deep into your eyes makes it all forgiven. I feel my comfort will be blown, my fears will grow out of control. Yeah, you still walk the path I follow anyways. I'm in love with the way that you hold me when I fall back down. And I'm in love with the words from your voice that put me off the ground now. This love's been a long time coming.
Okay, I did 2 sets of all those things. I think that's enough. I think I'm done. So even though it was basically dark when I finished my workout, I just went for a 12-minute walk and I'm very happy that I did. I'm feeling just so much better. Like I was feeling kind of like antsy before because I had so much pent-up energy because I had been sedentary all day and I just needed to like go get it out by going for a walk. So I did. I feel great.
2 hours later.
Oh my goodness, I just spent the last few hours like organizing my life. Like today was the day that I was going to get my stuff together, and today was the day of organizing Marissa's life, and organization has happened. Cleaned my whole room, vacuumed my whole room. I just sorted through like 5 or 6 months of mail that had just been sitting next to my desk for 5 or 6 months, so that took a while. I watered all my plants except for that one. That one's already dead. It doesn't, water's not going to help it at this point. And now I am hungry. I wanted to have a snack like an hour or 2 ago, but I was just being so productive that I didn't want to stop to eat. So now I'm very hungry. So it's time to go make some dinner. So for dinner, I made roasted veggies and steak. For the veggies, I have Japanese sweet potato, regular sweet potato, cauliflower, and delicata squash. And then I just cooked up the steak in some raw grass-fed butter with some garlic and onion mixed into the butter to just add a little bit of flavor to the steak. Definitely overcooked it a smidge tonight, but you know, what are you gonna do? I'm very excited about this. I've been having a variation of this for the last couple nights. This is a very winter appropriate dinner, I think, with the steak, and then all of the vegetables are either root vegetables or squash, which tend to be winter vegetables, and that's it. That's all that's on my plate, is veggies and steak, and they're delicious. Oh, and then as I was cooking, I was drinking some coconut water. This is just 100% plain coconut water. For dessert, I'm having some Hoo Hunks, some chocolate covered cashews. Oh no, that's it? I wanted more, but I am also gonna have a couple of these Jack's Paleo Kitchen chocolate chip cookies. One of my favorite brands for desserts. Super clean ingredients, super delicious. Their chocolate ones are to die for, but all they had at the store last time was chocolate chip. Okay, I also have the Who chocolate covered almonds, so I'm just gonna mix those in with the cashews. That looks like a good bowl of dessert. So I just made myself a little mint tulsi honey lemon tea when I read about how citrus fruits are in season in the winter, so we used to eat them to boost our immunity with vitamin C in the winter. I immediately went and got myself a bunch of lemons, but I have a bad habit of forgetting that I have them, and then they go bad, and I go through lemons and don't use them, and it's not good. And then I saw a tip on the good old internet saying juice your lemons, freeze the juice, use the juice cubes. So now I have lemon juice cubes, and they're pretty nifty, if I may say so myself. I think it's worth mentioning in a video like this that I don't plan on like rigidly sticking to anything. Like, this is not me following a diet, following a protocol, like sticking strictly to rules. This is just me using the seasons as a general guideline, and then kind of doing whatever the heck I want within that, right? So like, just because winter is the time for lower carb / keto doesn't mean that if I want a pizza, I'm not gonna eat a pizza. Like, I'm still gonna eat a pizza when I want a pizza. I'm still gonna follow the normal Marissa way of eating, of like listening to my body, indulging when I want to indulge. I'm just using this as like a general framework. I think in my head I'm looking at this as more addition rather than subtraction or restriction, right? So in winter I'm going to focus on adding more healthy fats, adding more root vegetables, adding more squashes, adding more things that we would just naturally eat more of in the winter rather than intentionally subtracting anything. It's gonna be the same in the summer. I'm gonna be focusing more on like adding fruits, adding fresh vegetables, and having that just take up more space in my diet rather than actively trying to like cut back on fat or cut back on meat or anything like that. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you guys have any questions about seasonal eating. Like I said, I kind of just started diving into the research on this, so I still have a lot to learn. And if you guys have any questions, I would love to research more and learn more as I kind of guide myself through this, I suppose. But I think this is gonna be the last thing that I consume today, but I think I will wrap up the video here. Make sure you do check out Symbiotica if you are interested and use my code FIT15 to get yourself 15% off. Again, I will leave a link down in the description box below. If you like this video, please do share it with your friends, your family, and your gym buddies. If you want to see more content from me all about health and fitness, you can check it out over here. To see future videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you get notified when I post a video, and I will see you very soon. Bye!